Hello, good morning to everybody. We are starting with our second day of this multiplying event. I'll give you an overview of our session today. And today, first of all, we will start with the presentation of the results of this program. And we have had an external evaluation implemented by the University of the Balearic Islands. And our teachers, our professors, Mercè Morell and Carlos Vecina, will introduce the results. Later, we'll see debate activities carried out in Italy, in the UTL. Afterwards, we'll have an interview with two support needs students, Katy Bibiloni and Irene Campins. And later, we'll have another panel of experts. It will be actually a blended panel with volunteers, teachers, experts, and so on. So I hope you like it. And let's start with the participation with the collaboration of Mercè Morell and Carlos Vecina. Let's start.
Thank you, Magdalena. Vale, nosotros vamos a iniciar lo que es la presentación de la aplicación de diversos instrumentos para evaluar el impacto que ha tenido el programa dentro del CEPA Son Canals, así como dentro de lo que es la comunidad, the community around the center. Okay. A continuación sí vamos a presentar los resultados de la evaluación del programa. Para empezar, lo que vamos a hacer es plantear un poco la tabla de contenidos en torno a una serie de elementos que hemos considerado más importantes para estructurar esta presentación. Por una parte, los objetivos de la evaluación, seguidos de lo que son los resultados cuantitativos, es decir, aquellos resultados que tenemos de la aplicación de un cuestionario, una aproximación a la experiencia de los participantes, an approximation of the participant experience, and then relationship of CEPA Son Canals with the community, with the other programs and the other areas. Y para acabar con las conclusiones.
So you could see in the slide before the contents of what we're going to cover in this presentation.
Bueno, la evaluación de los objetivos se ha organizado en torno a dos elementos principales que son dos finalidades. Una es conocer el perfil de las personas participantes en el programa y la segunda es conocer esa interacción entre el centro CEPA Son Canals con la comunidad. Para la primera, para el perfil de las personas participantes, hemos considerado lo que es las características sociodemográficas, sexo, lugar de nacimiento, años de residencia, situación administrativa, si tienen o no tienen permiso de trabajo y el nivel de estudios, en torno a otras variables que también comentaremos. Y para ello hemos aplicado un cuestionario y una serie de grupos focales. Para la segunda finalidad, que es conocer el impacto de la comunidad del centro en la comunidad, lo que hemos hecho es identificar primero espacios en los que el CEPA Son Canals interactúa, seguidamente si responde a las necesidades educativas de la población, conocer la capacidad de influencia que tiene para que otras personas del territorio o las mismas personas continúen asistiendo a CEPA Son Canals o tengan influencia sobre otras personas. Y hemos utilizado para esto el cuestionario, un cuestionario que hemos aplicado a las personas que han participado en el curso y los grupos de trabajo. Questionnaire and Focus Group.
Do you need me to translate for those in the room, or are they watching the presentation? You have the presentation, okay.
Respecto a los datos cuantitativos, resultado de esta participación, tenemos que en el curso han participado 43 personas, o al menos disponemos de los datos. O sea, lo que haremos será, ha participado más personas, pero hablaremos de los datos de las personas que han respondido al cuestionario, y una serie de voluntarios, 14 voluntarios que son voluntarios locales y 4 voluntarios internacionales. Respecto a esta parte es un poco aburrida, pero respecto a la parte de los datos, tenemos que, bueno, la mayoría son mujeres, un 60% de las personas que han participado en el curso son mujeres. Después, si consideramos los grupos de edad, nos encontramos con que la mayoría de las personas se encuentran en el grupo de edad entre 30 y 49 años, o 30 y 50 años, es el grueso de la población. Y respecto a la edad y el género, encontramos que la población entre 30 y 39 empieza, o sea, nos encontraremos los más jóvenes de 20 a 29 años es mayor el porcentaje de hombres, pero a partir de ese momento, poco a poco va creciendo el de mujeres, de 30 a 39 ya hay un 10% de diferencia, y entre 40 y 49, 50 años nos encontraríamos que el 83,3% son mujeres. O sea, principalmente es una población femenina la que está asistiendo también al CEPA como tal. Respecto al origen, nos hemos encontrado con que era interesante saber el origen de la población, el lugar de nacimiento, puesto que hay mucha población inmigrante en los barrios que están, en los que tiene relación el centro Son Canals, y resulta además interesante y curioso por el gran porcentaje de población, ¿no? Bueno, principalmente es subsahariano en 44%, latinoamericano en 23%, y población de Marruecos, de España, están en torno al 14%. También hay alguna persona refugiada de origen ucraniano y de Pakistán. Después queríamos ver los años que llevan residiendo en España, para saber si la influencia que se tenía sobre las personas que llevaban mucho tiempo o poco tiempo. Bueno, principalmente hemos visto, esto también responde al propio proceso de migración de las personas. La mayoría de las personas que son de origen subsahariano llevan más años residiendo en España cuando acceden a los programas del centro Son Canals, mientras que respecto a la población latinoamericana, pues hay diversidad, ¿no? Hay población que lleva muchos años y población de reciente llegada, ¿no? Bueno, luego tenemos otros casos que también son de reciente llegada, por ejemplo, como de Ucrania, ¿no? Por situaciones del contexto coyunturales. Otro tema interesante era también la situación de trabajo. Si las personas tenían o tienen un trabajo remunerado como tal o no, y el 53% de la población no tiene un trabajo remunerado. Perdón, me he pasado ahora estaba hablando de otra diapositiva. Perdón, si tienen o no tienen permiso de residencia, el 53% se encuentran sin permiso de residencia o de trabajo, mientras que solo el 28% tienen este permiso y un 12% pues ya tienen la nacionalidad. Hablamos únicamente de personas de procedencia inmigrante extranjera. Respecto a la situación de trabajo, que era lo que os estaba comentando antes, un 56% no tiene un trabajo remunerado, solo un 12% tiene trabajo remunerado, y la otra población o no contesta, no answer, un 23%, o tienen un trabajo a turno partido o algunas horas, ¿no? En este caso son minoría, la mayoría no disponen de trabajo. Y por último, la situación en torno al nivel de estudios, que la gran mayoría de la población tiene unos estudios básicos, primary education y de secondary education, un 14%, hay un gran porcentaje que no responde, tal vez o por no tener estudios o por no acabar de entender la similitud o la relación entre los conceptos, ¿no?, de nivel educativo, pero bueno, lo cierto es que buena parte de la población tiene estudios básicos.
So we just were saying there that there was a 23% of the participants in the questionnaire who didn't state what their level of education was. And that could be either because they have a very low level of education or because they didn't know how to make the equivalent with their education level and the education levels here.
Bueno, ahora tiene la palabra mi compañera Merce Morey.
Okay, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. Bueno, pues yo lo que haré será presentar la aproximación, un poco la valoración que se hizo a través de los grupos de discusión. Realizamos dos grupos de discusión con diferentes participantes, tanto voluntarios como estudiantes del CEPA Son Canals. En estos grupos de discusión queríamos analizar, de hecho, si me puedes pasar su diapositiva, Carlos. En este grupo de discusión, de hecho, teníamos la intención precisamente de valorar dos elementos clave. Por una parte, lo que era el grado de respuesta del CEPA Son Canals a las necesidades educativas de la comunidad y, por otra parte, el grado de sostenibilidad del proyecto desde una perspectiva participativa. Entonces,
So we held two focus groups, and those two focus groups were a mixture of students and volunteers. And in those two focus groups, the focus was on answering these two questions, which was about the degree of response to the educational needs of the community and the sustainability of the project.
Por tanto, a partir de ahí lo que hicimos fue, en este caso, a partir del grado de valoración de lo que serían las necesidades educativas de la comunidad, lo que hicimos fue establecer una serie de preguntas que considerábamos que nos responderían a esta valoración. Y por lo tanto aquí insertamos estas preguntas, estas cuestiones, de una manera un poco más familiar para las personas participantes, pero en realidad lo que queríamos analizar era cómo se valoraba la oferta formativa del CEPA Son Canals, si otros centros de personas adultas consideraban que ofrecían lo mismo, la oferta era la misma a diferentes niveles, a nivel de formación, de atención, de implicación. Si consideraban que se cubrían las necesidades educativas de las personas que participaban y por qué. Y finalmente, una última cuestión ya como más abstracta y que planteamos como que se imaginasen que el director del CEPA les preguntaba en un momento dado para el curso que viene, el curso siguiente, a ver si añadirían alguna cosa, más que nada para identificar algún punto débil, alguna debilidad del CEPA, a ver si se podía identificar alguna debilidad del propio CEPA.
So these were the questions that were asked in the focus group, maybe not necessarily in these exact words, but the idea was to get the answers to these questions from the participants. So first of all, asking them about the value of the programs on offer, and then secondly, asking whether they felt that other centres who provided similar services offered the same level of training and attention and involvement, for example. And also the last question about imagining if you could add something or improve something. This is to see whether there were any points of weakness or anything that could be improved in future years.
Las respuestas aquí fueron múltiples, evidentemente. El debate generó, de hecho, mucha riqueza en la recogida de información, de hecho, pero es cierto que hay algunas cuestiones en las que la unanimidad fue absoluta. Por ejemplo, en cómo valoraban la oferta formativa del CEPA Son Canals. La verdad es que todo el mundo la valoraba muy positivamente, como que había muchísima oferta, muy variada, y que ésta se adaptaba a sus necesidades educativas, pero también más allá. Luego veremos este más allá en qué consiste.
So we got great response, very positive response, very high rating for the value of the services that were offered and how appropriate they were, and we'll talk about that some more as we continue.
En cuanto a si pensaban, si creían que otros centros ofrecían lo mismo, el tema es que esta respuesta la dio fundamentalmente aquellas personas que habían pasado por otros centros. Los demás decían que no conocían la oferta de otros CEPAs, pero sí que las personas que habían pasado por otros CEPAs decían que fundamentalmente lo que valoraban como diferente y como positivo del CEPA Son Canals era precisamente el apoyo que se ofrecía todo el tiempo, constantemente, la ayuda que se ofrecía no solo en el estudio, sino a nivel personal y emocional.
So the second question was particularly aimed, of course, at people who had experience of studying in other centres or participating in other centres. Not everybody had experience of other centres, but those who did say very much that in Son Canals the difference was the level of support and help that was given not only for the studies but also for things life outside of studies. So they really valued that high level of support that was consistently given.
Finalmente, en lo que se refiere a este indicador, lo que solicitábamos era esto, que un poco de abstracción, y considerando que se les preguntaba si mejorarían algo y qué sería lo que mejorarían, la verdad es que las únicas demandas que hubo en este sentido fue a nivel de infraestructuras, que además conocíamos que se están haciendo cambios y remodelaciones, pero más allá de esto, a nivel formativo, personal, particular, no encontraban ninguna laguna sobre la que se tuviera que trabajar o la que se tuviera que modificar algún aspecto, y únicamente fue a nivel arquitectónico, fue lo único que remarcaron.
So in regards to the last question about what improvements could be made, the only observations were to do with infrastructure, and that is something that we are already working on. But when it came to talking about the standard of teaching and the courses on offer, there were absolutely no criticisms. It was just about the infrastructure, which is something that we are already working on.
Finalmente, en lo que sería el objetivo de valorar el grado de sostenibilidad del proyecto a partir de estas dinámicas participativas, hicimos dos cuestiones esencialmente ligadas a este objetivo, y en este caso volvemos a tener una unanimidad absoluta cuando se consultó y se preguntó si iban a cursar más el siguiente año académico, más cursos, más formaciones en el CEPA Son Canals. La respuesta fue unánime, que sí. Todo el mundo en ambos grupos de discusión dijo que sí. Cuando se les preguntó el por qué, dijeron porque no queremos irnos, no queremos desvincularnos del CEPA Son Canals en ningún sentido.
So it's important to point out that when we asked the participants to value the educational offer, and also when we asked them in this second part to we asked them if they were going to do more training courses, if they would continue. These answers were completely anonymous, and it was a unanimous yes, we are going to continue. And the reason given was we don't want to lose this contact that we have.
Finalmente, la última cuestión era algo más dinámica. No únicamente tenían que responder lo que aparece en pantalla, en este caso, que se llevaban, sino que se les formuló la cuestión diciéndoles que tenían que apuntar en un papel, en un post-it, y compartir con el resto del grupo qué es lo que se llevaban del CEPA Son Canals a cualquier nivel. Aquí totalmente libre la respuesta, las posibilidades de respuesta. Ahora veremos en la siguiente diapositiva cuál fue esta respuesta.
When we came to look at the second question there about sustainability, and the question was, what do you take away from your time at Son Canals? And this is on any level within their lives. We asked them to write their answers, as whatever answers they wanted, on these post-it notes and share them on the table with the whole group. And this is an example of what came out of that exercise.
Aquí, de hecho, vemos un ejemplo de algunos de los post-its que fueron compartiendo con el resto de participantes en su grupo de discusión. Estos solo son algunos de uno del grupo de discusión. Y si podemos pasar a la siguiente diapositiva, veremos que, de hecho, se focalizan en 3 elementos clave. En los post-its lo que hicieron fue que reflejaron lo que se llevaban, y esto iba vinculado a 3 aspectos esenciales que creemos que son el núcleo del CEPA Son Canals. Por una parte, el aprendizaje, todo que vienen a formarse al CEPA Son Canals, pero sobre todo participan del CEPA Son Canals por el apoyo que reciben por parte del centro, de lo que sería el profesorado y el resto incluso, porque hasta incluso recuerdo que comentaron que las señoras del servicio de limpieza eran muy amables, muy simpáticas, que eran un encanto. Por lo tanto, sería realmente toda la comunidad educativa en sí. Y finalmente, el tercer eje, que creemos que es el gran potencial del CEPA Son Canals, que también apareció en sus respuestas, fueron las relaciones sociales. Me llevo la amistad, me llevo compañerismo, me llevo haber conocido a tal persona. Estos eran los 3 ejes que compartieron fundamentalmente.
So when we looked at what came out of these post-it notes exercises, we saw 3 main categories. And here you see these 3 main categories. The first one was learning, because everyone comes to the center to learn. The second one was support from the school, from all the employees in the school, not just the teaching staff. There was it really stood out that they also noted how delightful and friendly the cleaning staff were in the center. And finally, social relationships. People came away from their time at Son Canals with new friends.
Y si pasamos a la siguiente diapositiva, lo que vemos es precisamente lo que extrajimos nosotros de estos comentarios. Algunos de ellos los hemos dejado aquí visibles. Y es que no solo es el aprender, no era vengo al CEPA Son Canals para aprender, sino que el aprendizaje era para algo más que para formarme yo mismo o yo misma. Es quiero estudiar por mis hijos, para mis hijos. Vengo al CEPA Son Canals para tener tiempo para mí misma, e incluso para poder salir de casa. ¿Qué pasa? Que esto nos ha permitido realizar un análisis interseccional a partir de estos colectivos, estas personas pertenecientes a colectivos vulnerables, pero vulnerables en diferentes sentidos, y que de hecho padecen esa vulnerabilidad añadida por el hecho de ser mujer de origen el que sea, ser mujer y tener diversidad funcional. Claro, todo ello iba concretándose en cada uno de estos casos que se ponían sobre la mesa y que ponían sobre la mesa sus necesidades y sobre todo aquello que cubría el CEPA Son Canals. Y fue lo que nos permitió ver que más allá de estos 3 ejes, que eran los que realmente estaba ofreciendo para ellas, para estas personas, igualmente las estaba, por tanto, empoderando y a la vez era una herramienta de promoción social para ellas. Quiero poder ofrecer algo a mi familia, quiero poder crecer como persona, quiero poder liberarme de una serie de problemas que tengo en casa. Todo ello creemos que todavía es mucho más, este análisis es mucho más profundo que no únicamente estos 3 ejes que fuimos identificando en sus comentarios.
So what we also saw when we were doing the analysis of this exercise was that in addition to those 3 elements that we talked about of learning and support from the school and building social relationships, we saw from the comments that the Son Canals was meeting much deeper needs of the users. So, for example, they were saying that what did they get out of coming to Son Canals was getting out of my house, having time for me, and I want to study for my children, as an example, for example. And we saw that the needs that were being met were much deeper. So we have to remember that the populations that we're working with are vulnerable populations, and they're vulnerable for many different reasons. Some of them because they are women or women from a certain origin, some of them because they have diverse needs. And being at Son Canals was meeting much of their needs, and we saw that as a result of coming to the centre, they were feeling more empowered. As a result of coming to the centre, there was the centre became a tool for social promotion as well. So apart from those 3 axes, we had a much deeper effect.
Por lo tanto, nosotros concluimos, de hecho, que no solo estaba respondiendo a las necesidades que se planteaban a partir de los objetivos que queríamos evaluar, sino que, además de responderlo, nos estaban respondiendo que sí, que quedaba garantizada, por tanto, la sostenibilidad del proyecto y la continuidad en la participación de estas personas, la vinculación era esencial, pero quedaba garantizada la continuidad en dichos programas, en dicha oferta, no solo formativa, evidentemente, pero que se formaliza en la oferta formativa del CEPA Son Canals.
So these results really showed us that the program wasn't just meeting its objectives that we'd set out, but also really is a sustainable offering because of the desire of the users to continue with the program. So really have met both objectives of delivering the program and sustainability.
Sorry. Bueno, respecto a las relaciones entre el centro Son Canals y la comunidad, hay diferentes programas comunitarios que se encuentran ubicados en barrios alrededor de donde está ubicado el centro y desde este programa se ha trabajado conjuntamente con estos espacios de relación, con estos proyectos comunitarios y con estos espacios de reunión comunitaria, lo que ha permitido al mismo tiempo no solo formar parte de la red de recursos y asociaciones del territorio, sino también poder ofrecer el servicio, la información y captar a personas que realmente necesitaban del recurso educativo que ofrece el CEPA Son Canals.
So, Son Canals has strong networks with other organizations in the neighborhoods around, and through these networks, the center is able to meet the needs of the population in those areas as well.
Para ello sirva como anécdota simplemente comentar que hay grupos de trabajo en los que participan escuelas de diferentes barrios y desde CEPA Son Canal se ha participado en esos grupos de trabajo, lo que ha permitido conocer la realidad y las necesidades educativas de la población, principalmente mujeres, madres de alumnos y alumnas que van a estos centros educativos, y ha ayudado a paliar uno de los problemas respecto al conocimiento de nuevas tecnologías y otras acciones formativas, otra oferta formativa que ofrece el centro. Esto ha ayudado a que esas madres puedan adquirir conocimientos básicos para ayudar a sus hijos e hijas en las tareas de la escuela de educación.
So there are a number of work groups which come from different schools in the area. Participants in these work groups are coming from different schools in the area, and through their relationship with Son Canals, we were able to identify the needs of population related to those schools, in particular the needs of mothers of children to develop digital competencies, to be able to help and participate in the requirements of their children in the schools by using computers.
Uno de los ejemplos lo tenemos con el porcentaje de población inmigrante que asiste a CEPA Son Canals y con el hecho de que la mayoría de estas personas sean mujeres. Es un indicador de esa circunstancia, ¿no? de ese punto de referencia para las mujeres de los barrios que rodean el centro, puesto que son barrios con elevada multiculturalidad.
So one indicator of this, one way we see this, is through the profile of the participants in the programs in Son Canals, that they are, the majority are women from the various immigrant populations around the center, and those are the main users of these programs.
Simplemente para acabar, si luego Magdalena nos gustaría que pudiera añadir alguna anécdota respecto a la experiencia del programa como conclusión, pero simplemente llama la atención el acceso, o sea, cómo se convierte el centro en un centro de segunda oportunidad para el acceso a población, por ejemplo, que no tiene permiso de residencia, por ejemplo, que se encuentra en una situación de desempleo o en situación de vulnerabilidad social diversa, y cómo se convierte en un centro realmente de oportunidad social y educativa.
So now we have some examples of how Son Canals really is a second chance centre. It gives opportunities to people who are in a vulnerable situation, whether that be for social, economic reasons or because they are immigrants or for whatever reason. It really has shown that Son Canals is a centre that gives them opportunities.
Magdalena, ¿quieres cerrar?
Bé.
Gràcies.
Molt bé, Carlos i Mercè, mos ha encantat. Personalment he de dir que ha estat una injecció de motivació a les acaballes del curs, quan mos trobam tan cansats i sense energia, que a més enguany ha estat un curs especialment mogut, i la veritat és que veure que realment sense anar a mirar els objectius del programa Green Digital Diversity veig com s'han complit 2 o 3 objectius ja en l'avaluació d'entrada, que seria un poc aquestes ganes que tenen aquestes dones de sortir de casa, de formar-se, d'acompanyar acadèmicament en el seu fills, de relacionar-se entre elles, també aquest apoderament que suposa formar-se, que està clar que és la millor manera d'apoderar-les, formar-se i que trobin una feina i que surtin de casa, que passin la barrera de l'esfera domèstica, i veure com, sense anar a cercar-ho, un dels objectius s'ha complit. No? Evidentment, hi ha tota la part més acadèmica de formar-se en competència digital a través del curs de IBSTEAM, però també m'agrada un poc veure aquests objectius més, diguéssim, interpersonals i intrapersonals, no? I crec que és important, com ha dit en Carlos, aquesta relació amb la comunitat, no? Amb el barri, que al cap i a la fi és molt important a una escola d'adults. No? Estic molt agraïda, m'ha agradat molt el que he sentit. He de dir que és vera que la part arquitectònica que deien a Mercè, hem de veure també els punts febles de l'escola. Vos vull dir que per una part també vos he de dir que Son Canals és el centre escolar més antic de les Balears. És el més antic, és a dir, que tenim un centre en Solera i en Vistori. I és vera que això té els seus entrebancs. És vera que la gent diu és que té molt de caràcter Son Canals, aquest tinell tan... que vos convida a venir, si no heu estat. Però, clar, això també mos du qualque problema. I, evidentment, m'imagino que els alumnes, una de les coses que degueren trobar és que, evidentment, a vegades el centre és un poc massa antic, té massa solera, no?, que he dit jo. I, a més, tots els problemes de mobilitat que no estan resolts, com seria la presència d'un ascensor, per exemple, no? Però bé, per lo de més, crec que s'han tocat temes molt importants pels objectius del Green Digital Diversity. També m'hagués agradat que més alumnes haguessin participat de l'avaluació, perquè realment han tingut bastant d'alumnes, sobretot a la primera edició del curs. És vera que tots no hi ha tota la part de la barrera lingüística, han tingut gent de moltes nacionalitats i gent a vegades amb dificultat per fer servir ratolí o fins i tot per escriure i per contestar un formulari Google, no? Però bé, estic molt agraïda per que realment el claustre s'ha d'estudiar aquesta part i l'hem de veure i crec que motivarà molt a tot el professorat a seguir fent feina en aquesta direcció. Moltes gràcies.
So it's been really wonderful to hear those results, because at the end of this time when we're all feeling very tired from all the work we've done, it's wonderful to see these positive results. And it's been so inspirational also to see the women who've participated in these courses of this Green Digital Diversity Program, to see how their enthusiasm and their desire to get out of the house, to develop themselves, to be able to study alongside their children and develop themselves alongside their children is really motivational to see the results of the Green Digital Diversity Program in this way. Also, talking about the only weakness that was highlighted in the focus groups, which was the infrastructure of the center, we should point out that Son Canals is actually the oldest educational center in the whole of the Baleares, which brings beauty because it has history, but also brings with it some disadvantages. But it's also a very attractive place to be because of the history that there is there in the center. But overall, it's been great to see how the Green Digital Diversity Program has achieved its objectives of delivering support to our vulnerable communities and creating networks within the neighborhood.
Molt bé, ara si voleu veurem una presentació. La meva idea era un poc veure la plana web del projecte, però anar amb un poc ajustat de temps i veurem les activitats que s'han desenvolupat a la UTL, San Francesco d'Assisi, a Itàlia, que també han fet servir unes activitats molt semblants a les nostres. Han fet el curs de competències digitals, sort, urbà, etc etc. I si vos sembla bé, ara veurem un poquet la presentació, que la cursarem un poc.
So now we're going to watch the video from Italy. The centre in Italy has delivered many courses very similar to Son Canals, and we're going to see a little bit about that now.
May I ask one question referring to that?
Of course.
Digital university, which lasts around for 2 years. Do you have any information how long an average student takes part in classes at your institution?
So the question is the question addressed to me or yes? Okay, well it depends. Yes, it depends. Because in Spain, these second chance schools, adult education schools, we give the opportunity to get the certificate in secondary education in 2 years, but they have to be good students in the sense that every 4 months they can finish a course. It's very intensive. So in 2 years, you can get a certificate in secondary education. Whereas in a mainstream secondary school, they have to stay there like they have to implement 4 courses. So it's just half of it. So that's why it's a good opportunity. They have to fulfill some conditions. They have to be above more than 18 years old. That's why it's an adult education school, or they can be 16 years old with a work contract. So they have to be employed somewhere, with a contract. So if they are very good students and they want to get the secondary education certificate, they can stay there for 2 years. But it depends, because we also offer ICT courses, English courses, Catalan courses, Spanish for migrants. So it depends on what they want to study, actually. So I don't know if I answer. If it's okay. So if you want, we can present the activities carried out in UTL, San Francesco d'Assisi. Okay. Well, they have been working mainly with Albanese students. And the core of the program consists of Italian language courses, ICT, and also other courses, other beta activities.
Oggi abbiamo con noi.
Okay. Here we have some pictures with one of the coordinator in Italy.
Buonasera Vittoria. Buonasera. Sei l'unica italiana oggi in questo gruppo di albanesi. Come mai ti trovi qui?
So, hi Victoria, you are the only Italian person attending the UTL. How come you are here?
Allora, sono qui perché volevo approfondire la conoscenza informatica, perché ormai non si fa altro.
Okay, this is an interview to Victoria. She's the only Italian. She's the only Italian student in the information technology ICT course, informatic course, and this was one of our aims, because remember that in the form we said that we wanted to have blended. We didn't want to have a ghetto in the class. So that's why in the ICT courses, we tended to have it tended to be a blended class. People from the community, from the local communities, and migrants. Okay, well, this is another beta activity, as you know. This is the organic garden course. And we also had this beta activity in Son Canals, for example.
Il tuo nome è Median.
Teo Median.
Median, hai fatto il corso all'UTL.
Okay, he's Median. He's an Albanese student. He has also participated in the Erasmus mobility. And he was one of the participants in the organic course, organic garden course. Okay. So this is the Italian course and the English course.
La signora Brunilda. So we have here UTL Brunilda.
Vuole rispondere a alcune domande sul progetto Erasmus e quindi sapere magari quali sono state le attività che più hanno interessato, sono sembrate più attrattive.
So we would like to know which courses you've been interested in and which one has been the most attractive one for you.
Oltre l'italiano, il corso della lingua italiana, mi è piaciuta anche tanto la lingua inglese.
Okay, so Brunilla is explaining in the video that she has what she has liked the most has been the English course and the Italian course.
Oggi abbiamo con noi la signora Ermira che sta qui da tanti anni e vuole rispondere a alcune domande sul nostro progetto Erasmus.
Today we have Ermira. She's been living in Fasano for many years, and we're going to ask her some questions regarding her attendance to the Erasmus courses here at UTL.
Okay, Elmira is one of the students, is one of the ICT courses. She's also Albanese and she has lived for a long time in Fasano. As I told you, the main target group in Puglia, in Fasano, consists of the Albanese group. Well, these are some pictures of the whole program, all the beta activities of the Erasmus program activities in, well, we mentioned all the courses, the organic garden courses, but also they celebrated the International Women's Day, March the 8th. As in Son Canals, yesterday our colleague from Grec explained it. Okay, and I think that's it. Molt bé. Aleshores, ara, si vos sembla bé, parlarem amb dues de les nostres alumnes que han participat en el curs de Green Digital Diversity, ciutadans digitalment competents. Com ha mencionat, ha esmentat na Mercè abans, i també hem vist a Itàlia que han seguit un poquet la mateixa metodologia, també altres països. Recordeu faig un recordatori que el curs Ciutadans Digitalment Competents estava adreçat principalment a la població vulnerable, però no volíem formar guetos, no volíem tenir guetos a les nostres classes. Per tant, vàrem intentar fer grups heterogenis. I a Son Canals tenim un conveni des de fa uns anys amb IBSTEAM, que és una associació que fa feina amb adults en necessitat de suport. I avui tenim aquí dues alumnes que són alumnes de molt de cursos de Son Canals, són molt actives i són amb nosaltres avui a la universitat i participaran un poquet d'aquesta sessió d'avui. The Marys.
So now we're going to meet two of our students at Son Canals, who are very active students, have participated in lots of courses, and they're going to speak to us primarily about their participation in the Green Digital Diversity Program's Digitally Competent Citizens program. So as we said before, when we were looking at the courses run in Italy, that these courses for digitally competent citizens and all the other courses in green digital diversity are particularly aimed at vulnerable populations. But what we didn't want to do was to create ghettos of those vulnerable populations. So we wanted to make sure that the courses, the participants, came from a blend of different backgrounds. So a heterogeneous, I can't say that word, group. And we have in Son Canals for many years had a partnership with IBSTEAM, which is an organization which gives support to adults with special needs. And Irene and Kati, who are here today, have come to us through IBSTEAM.
Molt bé. Avui parlarem amb Kati i Irene, que, com us he dit, són alumnes molt actives. Jo m'agradaria començar amb Kati Bibiloni, que va participar en la primera sessió, diguéssim, el primer curs fa 2 anys ja que estem en aquest projecte, i va fer feina amb voluntariat de fora d'Itàlia i se va fer molt amiga, a més, una d'elles, Irene, de la professora, en la que va seguir el contacte, i m'agradaria que me digués, a part del curs de ciutadans digitalment competents d'informàtica, m'agradaria que mos explicassis altres cursos que fas dins aquest programa, dins el projecte Erasmus. Un poquet explica-mos què fas a Son Canals i, ja que ets, quines altres activitats fas. Kati, endavant.
So we're asking Kati to tell us about the courses that she's done at Son Canals. She was here participating in the Green Digital Diversity Program from the very beginning, 2 years ago. And we're asking her to tell us about not only those courses, but what else she's done, because she's developed some great relationships with other people at the center, in particular with a volunteer that we had from Italy. And we're asking her to tell us about her experiences of life in Son Canals.
Yo he hecho el curso de costura y también he hecho el curso de Erasmus de informática, solamente 1 año.
So Kati says that she's done the sewing course and also the information technology course.
Voluntariado.
And also volunteer, sorry, I didn't hear.
A més d'aquestes activitats, fa un voluntariat a Sant Joan de Déu i participa d'una activitat en nosaltres també a Flassaders. Kati, pots explicar un poc la teva activitat a Flassaders?
Sí, pero ahora no hago. Ahora me he quitado, pero he hecho de sobre Flassaders, que es a través de gente migrante, mujeres emigrantes que hacemos, hablamos y ella nos cuenta cómo es su país y todo.
Okay, so Katy's told us that she's also been volunteering at a project in Flaçaders, which is another center in the center of Palma that we heard about yesterday. And Katy has participated in a project there where they come together with immigrant women from various countries to learn about their culture and their lives in those countries.
Muy bien, Katy. Escolta, jo també m'agradaria que explicassis què ha suposat per tu fer feina amb aquestes dones migrades, que els hi has pogut oferir i si t'ha agradat fer amics d'altres països. Si t'ha agradat conèixer gent d'altres països.
Sí, jo sempre m'ha agradat conèixer gent d'altres països.
Porten.
M'aporta de tot.
So the question that Magda asked of Katy was if she enjoyed working with these immigrant women and what she got out of it. And she said, yes, she enjoyed it very much and she got everything out of it.
Molt bé, jo voldria contar una experiència i és que en totes les dones, el grup Erasmus, un dia ens varen convidar a l'última hora amb un periodista per mi excel·lent, que és Nurko Urdieta, i ens va convocar en aquella sala amb tots aquells quadres d'en Picasso i d'en Miró penjats i el varen tornar loco en el periodista, en Katy, perquè ens va contar tot el que feia. Te va agradar anar a l'última hora i amb aquell reportatge que vos varen fer de 2 pàgines?
Sí, m'ha agradat bastant molt. M'ha agradat bastant molt. Estava molt bé.
So we were hearing a story about a journalist who came from a local newspaper called Última Hora, and the result of this meeting with the journalist, the meeting took place in a room with beautiful artwork of Miró and other artists, and the result was a 2-page spread in the newspaper about the work that was being done. And we asked Katy if she enjoyed that experience of being with the immigrant women and of being interviewed by the newspaper, and she said, yes, very much.
Molt bé. Na Katy ha descobert el voluntariat, és a dir, ha descobert que ella pot ser voluntària i pot aportar molt a la societat, que és un dels punts forts i és un dels leitmotivs repetits contínuament aquests dies. No? És un punt fort, crec, de CEPA Son Canals, o m'atreviria a dir un tret diferencial envers altres CEPAs. El que sí m'agradaria dir és per què t'agrada i exactament què fas a Sant Joan de Déu. Quina és la teva tasca com a voluntària? I una segona pregunta seria, m'has dit que t'interessaria molt passar a ser formadora, és a dir, na Katy té una habilitat increïble per cosir, és una cosa com a innata, i l'any que ve li agradaria a ella ensenyar a cosir a les dones migrades. Creus que pots pegar aquest petit vot i l'any que ve animar-te a cosir, Katy? Primer mos traduiran a The Marys.
So through this Green Digital Diversity program and her participation, Katy has discovered volunteering and has discovered that she has the capacity to make a tremendous contribution to the community through volunteering. One of the places she volunteers is San Juan de Dios, which is a hospital, and we're going to ask her to tell us a little bit more about what she does there. And secondly, we've identified that Katy is amazing at sewing. And the question that we've asked her is whether she's ready to now make the leap and become a teacher, a volunteer teacher, and to teach our immigrant women sewing, to pass on the skills that she has to them? So these are the two questions that we're asking now.
Yo en San Juan de Déu hago el voluntariado ropero, que viene gente a buscar ropa a través del Médicos Sin Frontera, de la Cruz Roja y también de San Juan de Déu. Y vienen y nosotras le damos la ropa.
So first of all, talking about the volunteer work that she does in San Juan de Dios, it is working in the wardrobe. So they give out clothing to people who need clothing. And those people come from Médecins Sans Frontières. They also come from the Red Cross and from San Juan de Dios. And Katy is there helping them with their clothing.
Molt bé, Katy. I la segona pregunta que a mi m'interessa molt i no m'has respost. No sé si te faig ser interessant. Jo ja no sé què. Jo començo a sospitar. Jo el que vull saber és si realment l'any que ve vols ser voluntària en les migrades, que cada dia en tenim més. I ensenyar-los a cosir.
Sí, vull fer-lo, perquè sempre he tingut interès d'ensenyar. Jo me volia treure el títol de corte confessió, però per circumstàncies de la vida no he pogut.
So Magda then asked Katy if she will please tell us if she wants to teach the sewing course next year. And Katy said, yes, definitely. She would like to do that she's always loved sewing. She always wanted to have qualifications in that, and she would really like to work with the immigrant women next year on that course.
Molt bé, Katy, quedes contratada. Molt bé.
Magda says she's hired.
Molt bé, ja per acabar vull parlar amb Irene, que Irene és així com Katy, té una habilitat increïble per cosir, per tear patrons, per fer coses complicadíssimes. Irene ha descobert la informàtica en els 2 cursos, perquè se va apuntar la primera en els 2 cursos de ciutadans digitalment competents. A més, se va fer íntima de la voluntària italiana, na Maria Grazia, en la que s'ha escrit molt de mails, i va quedar encantada amb aquelles professores italianes que me deia que eren com na Rafaela Carrà. I a més d'això, ella ha seguit en la informàtica i enguany s'ha apuntat amb en Martí, a qui adora, el nostre director, s'ha apuntat en el curs d'informàtica i en Martí està al·lucinat. Diu que és la millor alumna que té enguany. I per l'any que ve també ja s'ha tornat a matricular. Irene, ja acaba amb aquesta pregunta. Irene, voldria saber per què t'agrada tant la informàtica, però abans na Damaris mos traduirà això a l'anglès.
Okay, so now we're going to speak with Irene. Irene, in the same as Katy, is fantastic at sewing, at dressmaking. She's wonderful at doing all the really complicated parts of cutting and sewing. And in addition to that, she has a real skill for information technology. And so she was the first to sign up for these courses, and she's done incredibly well. She's now this year on an information technology course where she is outstandingly the best student on the course, which is really impressive. And in addition to that, she's created a great friendship with an Italian tutor, and they've exchanged plenty of emails. And so now we're going to hear from Irene about her experience on the course and what she enjoyed.
Para aprender cosas y me gusta mucho.
¿Por qué te gusta tanto? ¿Por qué disfrutas tanto delante de un ordenador? Porque yo no disfruto tanto, por ejemplo. ¿Qué puedes hacer? ¿Qué te permite hacer la informática?
Aprender muchas cosas.
Buscar información, por ejemplo.
Sí.
Molt bé. Ara, Irene, mos podies explicar, que tu també ets hiperactiva i com na Cati, mos podies explicar totes les coses que fas. Mem quantes coses et surten. Totes les coses que fas, totes les activitats, els cursos que fas actualment.
Yo también estoy en un ropero de aldeas infantiles para doblar ropa y luego hice 2 cursos de Glassroom.
Classroom, què més has fet? Què fas a Son Fortesa? A part de Son Canals, que hi passes moltes hores?
Actividades.
Sí. ¿Qué actividades haces?
Cursos y persiana y arte, pintar en los cristales.
Molt bé, Irene. Fantàstic. Molt bé. Si vos sembla bé, na Demaris mos traduirà un poquet de Irene i després ja podem concloure aquesta part.
So we asked Irene what she enjoyed about the courses that she's participated in, particularly the information technology courses. And she said that she really loves learning, and she was able to learn a lot in these courses. And that's what she's really loved more than anything, learning and finding information, discovering information. So then we talked about her volunteer work, because Irene is also very active, and Irene works also with clothes as a volunteer in another center, where she works in a children's clothing wardrobe, where she helps with folding the children's clothes. And she also does other courses in the other center, in another center, where she does artistic things like painting. Particularly, she mentioned painting glass.
Molt bé, si vos pareix bé, ja acabam amb aquesta primera part, fem una pausa i després seguirem amb una taula farcida de gent i amb 2 comunicacions que se faran, una des d'Itàlia i l'altra des de IBSTEAM alhora. Molt bé, i mos veiem d'aquí 20 minuts. Fins després. Hello, we have had a break, a coffee break, and now we have some energy to go ahead. First of all, I would like to say that I'm going to introduce a blended panel of experts, volunteers, and even students who have participated actively in the program Green Digital Diversity. And to begin with, we have a presentation given by the headmaster of the IBSTEAM, one of our main stakeholders. And we will start from IBSTEAM. Hello, Tomeu.
Hi, good morning, Magdalena.
I'm happy to see you, and we are grateful because you are here today, and we are eager to listen to your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. And first, I will say thank you to CEPA Son Canals and directly to Magdalena Valle for the invitation at this Multiplier event. As an organization, we are so glad for the results and the impact to the project Green Digital Diversity. Yesterday, we listened some examples who illustrate clearly the success of this project. But first of all, let me introduce myself and also my organization. IBSTEAM is an acronym composed by Balearic Islands and STEAM. You can preview our organization is focused in develop projects related to science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. But we are these objectives, and I will share with all of you. Our main objectives are promote digital learning and scientific and technological education in not-university education field, fostering interest in scientific and technological vocations, provide tools to teachers to help them in their digital transformation, create working groups to develop digital materials and resources, increase the role of women in science and technology, guarantee access to materials for centers and families with few financial resources, encourage the exchange of experience and good practices through conference and training activities, and offer advice to centers on computational thinking and digital identity. So, IBSTEAM as organization was born in 2020, but at the beginning we are just 3 members. But as you know, as you remember, in COVID-19 has been a big change in every area of our life, but in school life, the change was tremendous. Yesterday, we could listen Rosa Galliano from the social service, who showed us the huge impact, in that case, the negative impact caused for the pandemic and the lockdown in the neighborhood of Sangoleu. So, in March 2020, teachers, students, and family had to start using distant learning, and some schools really show they are not prepared for the challenge. This manifesting a real need for teachers training and introduction on virtual learning environments and the corresponding redefinitions on the teacher role. Yeah. For the team, the team increased to 12 in 2021 and 35 in 2022. So it's a huge increasement. During this time, our priority was to stay near the schools and high schools in order to help in their improvement and digital competence, and also define their digital strategy. And for us, was so important, consensual, this digital strategy, putting always the students in the middle, because they are the main character in this history, no? Are you agree with me? Sure. So, but the things are moving really fast in digital sphere, as you know. Recently, has emerging new technologies such as artificial intelligence, virtual and augmented reality, robotization, such the Internet of Things, datafication, the new phenomena of misinformation, disinformation, fake news. So the students and the society have a lot of challenge to afford. Yeah. So, and also putting the eye on the European Agenda 2030, there are lots of things to do. It's a big challenge, and all the organizations have a responsibility on that. Not only in improving the skills from the population, from the citizens, also in infrastructure, yeah, also in business, and the governments have to put a lot of effort in that matter and start and set up the policies quarterly, you know. Yeah. Our reference in this matter is so clear. Yeah, is we have to pay attention to 3 frameworks. Is this one you can see in my slides. First, the DCOM is the framework for citizens. Also, the DCOM.org is a framework in digital matter related to organizations, because organizations have to be a clear strategy in digital matter. And finally, the most recently framework is a DCOM.edu. It's a framework just specifically from teachers, how the teachers can do their job in in our society, in a 21 CH society. So, but in this project, in Green Digital Diversity, we put mainly our effort in the digital competence framework for citizens, and also known as DICOM. This framework provides a common language to identify and describe the key areas in digital competence. And we use these key areas in order to prepare the material for the courses. Yeah? Okay. This, if you have a look to the 5 areas, we can see we have 4 levels. The lower levels are foundation and intermediate level, and finally we have an advanced level and highly specialized level. The first areas are information and data literacy, communication and collaboration, and digital content creation. On the other hand, we have the areas 4 and 5 related to safety and problem solving. These 2 areas are transversal, so they apply in any type of activity carried out through digital means. Elements of problem solving in particular are present in all the competences, but a specific area was defined to highlight the importance of this aspect in the appropriation of technology and digital practice. As organization, also, we are participate in 3 KA2 projects, both as a coordinator and partners. And let me share with all of you, as organization, we have a lot of benefits when we participate in Erasmus project like Green Digital Diversity. The participation in this kind of projects allows improve the center pedagogical documents by incorporation the learning techniques and skills acquired in the mobilities or the events like yesterday and today. Enriches the courses offered that they are innovative, increase the know-how, how important is that? The know-how, because our team, thanks to the observation to other realities, other ways to seeing and doing, so it's so important for us. Also increase the prestige of the center, because being reinforced by this type of international projects, the image of the institutions, and this projection, not only in regional matter, also in national and international levels, improves considerably. The strength of the international relation, contact with other institutions, like, for instance, you from Italy, Slovenia, yes, is so interesting for us. And also the reinforced relation with schools, teachers, and education community in general. For instance, the CEPA Son Canals and the CEPA Pare Bartomeu Pou, who examples to clears where we are involved recently. Yeah? And let me give you a brief overview from the most related project is Science That's a Good Story, where this project we have worked with La Scuola di Robotica from Genova, l'Istituto Marciadine from Foggia, I'll say Pare Bartomeu Pou from Algaida. In this project, how interesting was, listen to me, in this project, students from 8 and 11 years, they are give some examples who women in science. And furthermore, in this project, the students and teachers are working together in computational thinking using Scratch. Was incredible, the success of this project. But now our focus in digital diversity, and as a partner of this project, I'm gonna share with all of you the process of the building the material, the training courses. Yeah. As I mentioned before, we pay attention above all and digital and the framework of digital citizen, but also in different interviews with Magdalena and volunteers, we notice that mostly the people who participate in these courses in CEPA Son Canals are also parents from students in the schools in the neighborhood in San Gotleu. So clearly we need work directly in the school tools that the students use at school, and the parents couldn't help their children in use that technology, you know? For that, we structured the course in 6 big subjects. First, the LMS, the Learning Management System, with mostly the schools use Google Classroom, and we prepare some activities and material in order to increase the interaction, how the families can interpret the tasks, the marks, and improve the relation with teachers at school using the platform. Yeah, that was, I think, a good idea. Also, work dearly in communication and productivity tools, Gmail, Google Calendar, Meet. In the pandemic and the lockdown, the video conferences introduced in our lives, and as you can see today is for the long life. Yeah, it was a big resource, and we have to be prepared to use. Also, activities and materials to work directly the digital identity. The social network was, the families are really worried about that. The digital footprint that we left. Also, another big subject was storage, the content, the creation of the materials in the cloud, Google Drive, create, share documents, incorporate comments, be able to prepare a presentation with slides. Yeah, was so important. And finally, surfing and share safety tips, question related to passwords, the strong passwords, prevent problems like phishing, and start to introduce the pattern and control using the tools like Family Link or something like that, because in the first times where the students and children use mobile phones, is so important that the families be behind the child and start to use technology together and main a contract, main a contract, how the children have to use the device, the page, the websites they can use, the social network, the profiles, etc. And finally, very useful information is the students can prepare for ourselves using the Europars platform their curriculum. I think that's very important, related to business agenda in the 2030 agenda in the European Commission. So, and that's all for me. I hope my presentation was clear, and if you have some questions for me, we'll be glad to answer.
Thank you so much, Tomeo. It was fantastic. We had a very nice, and I think we understand the overview you offer us. All this European digital agenda we are familiarized with, and also your contribution related to the program, Green Digital Diversity. So thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so now once we have seen and we have listened to this presentation, we are going to start with the panel of experts. We have, like, as I told you, a blended group. First of all, I will start on my right-hand side. We have Leah. She's a student from Nigeria, and she has participated in both courses organized in different years in the informatic course, digitally competent citizens. Then let me introduce our colleague, the headmaster of a school in our neighborhood called San Francesco d'Assisi. So today we have San Francesco di Assisi and San Francesco d'Assisi. The Franciscan power in Italy and Spain. And then we have another volunteer. He's a retired teacher. His name is Jesus Estan, and he has been the teacher in the course organized this year. He has enjoyed a lot, and I think this is his first experience as a volunteer. Also, Eva Vives, she was a teacher in Son Canals some time ago. She knows our school, and she contributes actively. She has contributed actively in this program, Green Digital Diversity. Nowadays, she's a worker in IBSTEAM, and she contributes in different programs related to the digital transformation in schools. Then we have Chiska. Chiska is a volunteer. She has participated in the sewing courses in Son Canals. And I think it's also her first experience as a volunteer. She was also a student. As I told you, students in Son Canals sometimes tend to become volunteers. So it's very nice. It means they are deeply involved in the school. And then we have a volunteer. She's a retired teacher, a Spanish teacher. She used to work in Institut Joan Alcover, a well-known secondary school in Palma, and nowadays she's a volunteer for the Spanish courses. And maybe we also have a contribution from Italy. Mikel, do we have also a contribution from Italy, from Annabella? Not yet? Okay, so we will start with this panel. So shall we start on my right-hand side? We have Joan Gari. He's the headmaster of a school in our neighborhood. A lot of parents in his school have participated in the classroom course, in the digitally competent citizens course, and I would like also him to tell us about his contribution in the board of the neighborhood. We have a board composed of experts and people from different entities. So maybe he can tell us about his participation in this community board, en la taula de Pere Grau. M'agradaria un poc que contessis l'experiència en aquesta taula. Crec que no necessiten traducció, de moment. Pots parlar en català.
Ara sí. Gràcies. Bé, primer de tot, agrair la convidada en aquesta taula rodona, és un gust per a participar d'aquesta experiència i contribuir a seguir fent el que fa la taula en el barri de Pere Guerau, que és fer feina en xarxa, estar relacionats i ajudar a recuperar una miqueta el que era el barri de Pere Guerau a dins Palma, quan jo vaig començar a fer feina aquí fa 20 anys ja, que era un barri que venia a ser un poble a dins una ciutat, d'acord? Allà on tots mos coneixíem, allà on tots mos relacionàvem i allà on tots mos miràvem de la mateixa manera, independentment d'on veníem, d'on anàvem i quin tipus de família teníem.
Yes, so Joan is the headmaster of a school in Pedro Garau, which is a neighborhood. He's telling us that he has been in the area for a long time, and he was saying that 20 years ago, Pedro Garau was like a village in the middle of the city where everybody knew each other and everybody would respect each other and treat each other as an equal, no matter where they came from. And working within the network of organizations in the neighborhood now, the aim is to try to reinforce and recreate that atmosphere within the neighborhood.
I també una altra de les bases d'aquesta taula és l'aprofitament dels diferents recursos que tenim cada un de les entitats que formen part d'aquesta taula. Ja siguin entitats educatives, ja siguin associacions de veïnats, ja siguin associacions de xinesos. Per tant, aprofitar tot el potencial que tenim cada un per compartir i per crear comunitat.
And also to make the most of all the resources that there are in the neighborhood for the benefit of the community. So there are various organizations, there are the educational establishments, also community centers. Also, for example, there is a Chinese association, and it's to make the most of all of those resources for the benefit of the community.
La taula rodona quin paper té? És a dir, només s'entén aquesta taula per fer feina en xarxa, és a dir, per fer comunitat. No s'entén que hi hagi una taula i que cada entitat faci feina per separat. Molt important és el fet de créixer i sumar un darrere l'altre, aprofitant el que he dit abans, els recursos, préstec de materials, deixar-nos aquelles eines, aquelles cosetes que cada un tenim. Ara, un exemple molt senzill, a la nostra escola tenim una carpa per fer un event de final de curs que ens ha cedit una entitat nostra mateixa i això.
And the participants of the board or the round table, the idea is that all of the organizations come together to work together and to pool their resources and to work in conjunction with one another, not individually. So for one example of pooling resources is that the school has now the word escapes me, it's like a tent. Yes, but it has another word in English, this thing. Anyway, where you can have events, and so the school uses it for the end of year events, but this is a resource that's available to all the organizations that participate in the board.
Una altra feina que ha fet superimportant ha estat el fet de rompre barreres, prejudicis entre, per exemple, l'escola pública i l'escola concertada que convivim allà. És a dir, el fet de la immigració vista amb un caire positiu, amb un caire de sumar, amb un caire de conviure tots independentment de la raça, de la ideologia o d'on vens i d'on vas. Això ha estat superimportant perquè les escoles públiques i nosaltres, la concertada, pues estem molt separats i ara ens coneixem, compartim i pues, el que dèiem, un entra dins ca nostra i l'altre dins ca nostra.
Another really important role that the board plays is to break down barriers and to enable people to get to know one another, to work together. So, for example, there was historically a barrier between the public schools and the semi-private schools like San Francisco de Assisi. And the board has been very successful in achieving the objective of them getting to know one another and to understand one another and to appreciate one another and to work together.
Aquest arbre que vàrem sembrar fa bastant d'anys ja en la taula, que s'havia intentat des de fa molt de temps que hi hagués una taula amb un poc de seguiment, perquè s'ha anat interrompent en els anys. Ara aquesta continuïtat pues, ja té unes fruites, ja té uns resultats, i bueno, la nostra activitat estrella és la diada, que celebràvem en el mes de maig, que duim 4 edicions, en la interrupció del Covid, però duim 4 diades allà on pues, hem vist aquesta comunitat quan tenim els alumnes, totes les escoles, les públiques i nosaltres, quan tenim els alumnes és de matí, de 9 a 1, fem unes diades, allà on cada entitat pues, prepara una sèrie de tallers i tal per compartir un dematí, que abans del Covid el compartíem en el lloc emblemàtic i necessari del barri, que era la plaça, però que ara, malauradament, està ocupada 5 dies del matí de la setmana i, de moment, i reivindicam aquí una vegada més, encara que qualcú no mos escolti, però ho provarem, aquest espai que ens dona tanta vida, perquè les dues darreres edicions les hem fetes en el carrer de la nostra escola, que també ha estat xulo, però no és el lloc perfecte.
So the board began many years ago, and it's like the seeds were planted, the tree has grown, and now it's bearing fruit. And one example of this is the special days that they have every year where all the schools come together and work together on various events. And in previous years, these events took place in a very symbolic place in the neighborhood, which was the square. In the past couple of years, that wasn't possible. It's been held in the streets of the school, which is also very nice. But the hope is to go back to the square because it has very symbolic meaning to hold events there where all the community comes together and appreciates one another.
Bé, i ja per acabar, aquí no acaba la feina d'aquesta diada, sinó que tenim un marge de creixement molt gros, és a dir, un marge de millora que a poquet anem fent. Després de cada diada, ara l'altre dia, fa 15 dies, ens vam reunir per avaluar els pros, contres d'aquestes diades, el que ha sortit bé, el que és millorable, i anar enregistrant a fi de que l'any que ve anar aplicant les propostes de millora que van sorgint en comunitat, en xarxa, i eliminar aquelles que no han acabat de funcionar. Després, també tenim un ampli banc de recursos entre nosaltres per saber què fa cada entitat, perquè, per exemple, les escoles puguen derivar els nostres alumnes a una escola d'estiu organitzada per no sé qui, o un pares necessitats que puguin anar a CEPA, per exemple, a formar-se i a trobar una sortida a alguna dificultat que puguin tenir. I més que res, això sempre, és vera, s'ha fet amb una relació humana molt saludable, molt sana entre tots i que de cada vegada és molt, molt, molt més senzill i molt més útil.
So, of course, what happens is that after every one of these special days, there is a review to see what went well, what can be improved in the future to make sure that the success just keeps on growing. And it's very important that all the organizations come together to talk about what resources and activities and proposals there are to make sure that they're meeting the needs of the community, working together as a group. So could be that there is a summer school or a summer camp, could be that there is a need for education in Son Canals for the parents, but it's all improving every year. And see?
Second participant today. Thank you very much, Yuan. I think it was a very complete overview of what the Taula de Entitats, the board of entities in our neighborhood, how it works, and a little bit its aims, and a little bit the ideas we want to implement in the future. So thank you very much for your contribution. And now I would like to talk with Eva. Eva, she's a member of IBSTEAM, Eva Vives. As I told you, she was a former teacher in CEPA Son Canals. And she's going to explain us a little bit the program, Digitally Competent Citizens, and a little bit how it was, how the contents were chosen, all the challenges on the way, and a little bit how they organize each other to develop this special program for special students.
Thank you, Magdalena. This idea started almost 3 years ago, when one day Magdalena called me and told me that she wanted to do another Erasmus project, and in this case, this Erasmus project was addressing the whole 4 priorities of the new Erasmus program. Of course, one of them being the digital competence or the digital transformation that now we're gonna talk a little bit about. For us in IBSTEAM was a challenge in the sense that we are really used to working with teachers, training teachers, but also we are developing lots of programs and projects with the schools, with the students, and therefore, of course, with families. And since each school in the Balearic Island has an advisor for them, when you go to schools and the schools complain sometimes about infrastructure, but sometimes what they most complain about is that families cannot help their kids in their educational process just because they don't have the skills. Sometimes it's linguistical skills, of course, if we are talking about people who have, newly comers. But above all, we are talking about this digital divide, in the sense that maybe they don't have the infrastructure. So we help them with that. We provide Chromebooks for students, as my headmaster explained, who don't have the incoming resources to have their own device. But on the other hand, it's also part of our duty to help the community in getting these skills. So we decided we would focus on Google Classroom, because 90% of our schools in the Balearic Islands are using this learning virtual environment. And also what we try was to do, focusing also on the digital framework for citizens, to try to do some small chapters on each area from the digital framework, so that we could tackle and all the aspects that you need to have a basic digital literacy skill. The challenges, okay, the challenges have been many, but on the one hand, you cannot take everything for granted. As Magdalena explained, some of the users really need like a pre-adaptation for the course. So this has been like beautifully done by the trainers, by the volunteers, that they have, once you are there in the classroom, you realize that some people need this previous step. On the other hand, sometimes the skills that you need for a school and to guide your kids in a school are quite complicated. We need to take into account that after COVID, everything went online. So, for example, now if you need to consult your kids' marks, everything is done on a platform created by the government, which sometimes is not so user friendly. So probably most other parts of the program will be going and taking steps on this platform and helping families with that. Of course, that most of the schools are doing it that per se, but we as an organization, we also have this duty. So probably we will be helping with them in the future. And last but not least, the itinerary had to be flexible. As you have seen, we have had like lots of participants coming from different backgrounds. We have had people with special needs, so all the modules had to be adapted and could be like really flexible. In some cases, students have completed all of them, but in some others, they have completed only a part, and that's totally okay.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. It was very, very clear and amazing. And now we have an external contribution from Italy, from Cipia Napoli. Annabella is waiting for us. Ciao, bella mia. Sorry, I had to be a little bit spontaneous, but Annabella is a good friend of mine. She contributes from time to time with CEPA Son Canals, and she was one of the amazing volunteers, international volunteers, who participated in the first course of Green Digital Diversity in the course. And it was a challenge because she's not Spanish, she's Italian, she's vera napolitana. And though we have similar personalities and we are Mediterranean, she had a big challenge because she had to teach ICT to newcomers, and at the same time they didn't have a domain on the language, and also it was ICT, and she's an English teacher. So it was everything very complicated, but I think in the end it was a big success. And today we had some students here who talk about their experiences, and they said that they were in love with you. Some Irene, I don't know if you remember, Kati Bibiloni, etc., etc. So, Annabella, nice to see you.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It is really important for me to share this experience with you because I think I've done many Erasmus in my life, but the teaching assignment, it was very, very challenging. The most important thing was that there was a variety of people with different needs, different levels, different backgrounds, and different linguistic skills. So it was very important for me because I had to focus as well in teaching ICT, like Magdalena says, while normally I'm an English teacher. But it was super engaging. So I was super worried at the beginning, but then when I saw the students, and there were 4 classes of different students with different levels, and they were all really involved. They liked it very much. Somebody need extra help also for simple tasks, and some others were really good because I managed the last part of the course. So I saw people that from the beginning had like a good base, but in the end they became totally independent and autonomous in their path. It was also linguistically important because since some of them were mainly French speaker or English native or Spanish, or some were locals, but others were coming from different countries. So we switched the languages all the time. I made a part in English, a part in Spanish, a part in French, sometimes just to support them. So for this, it was really, really important for them also for the intercultural atmosphere, because they were from really all over the world, all living in Spain, of course, but they had the chance also through the topics and through ICT to learn a little bit about the importance of being together in a multi-environment environment, in a multi-ethnic classroom. And I think this was an added value, because it was not only about the topic, it was not only about the skills, the new skills they were acquiring for their lives, to have a better lives, to be more independent in creating products and managing the tools, but it was important, especially from the intercultural point of view, for the awareness of the importance of cooperation done with so many members of the society. So there was the school, there were the NGOs, there were the volunteers, there were people there were teachers from other countries. So I think it was really a complex experience that turned out to be absolutely engaging, interesting for everybody.
Thank you very much, Annabella. I think you were, you talked very fast, but you gave us a lot of information, very clearly presented. So thank you so much for everything, for your contribution. And I wish you the best. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Annabella. Huh? Okay, so now let me introduce Jesus Stan. Jesus is one of our volunteers. She taught the same course as Annabella, but this year. And he had a lot of students, and they were all of them from Senegal. And it was such an experience. If I could show some pictures later, I will show you, because I think it was a big challenge for him. Jesús, m'agradaria ara que mos parlassis un poquet de la teva experiència com a voluntari i de les dificultats d'adaptar-se un poquet a alumnes tan diferents, no? Tan diferents, gent que no fa tant de temps que ha arribat a Mallorca, gent que està aquí en una situació encara irregular, perquè molts d'ells eren senegalesos que encara no tenen la nacionalitat i que parlen poquet castellà i pràcticament no parlen català, segur que no en parlen, i un poquet les dificultats d'adaptar-se i tots els reptes que han suposat, per tu. Primer, Damaris mos traduirà la pregunta.
So the question asked of Jesus is how he found the experience of teaching a group that was so different, a group who had only very recently arrived here in Mallorca, who had very little knowledge of Spanish and none of Catalan, a group who most of them were in a irregular situation where they don't have residency or nationality. And what was it like to work with this group?
Hola, bon dia. Bàsicament, jo venc de la primària, després de 37 anys d'estar treballant amb alumnes de primària, se me va oferir el repte, l'oportunitat de treballar amb aquest grup d'alumnat que, com ha dit com han explicat abans, era un grup amb unes característiques una mica diferencials. No? Aleshores, la barrera idiomàtica d'entrada va ser un entrebanc, ja que bàsicament ells no dominaven més que tot a nivell escrit, tenia moltes dificultats, a nivell oral més o menys com es defensaven, però a nivell escrit doncs, hi havia aquí una sèrie de dificultats. Aleshores, la idea era ensenyar-los a manejar una miqueta l'eina del Classroom com una plataforma, com una eina de comunicació i també a la vegada que tinguessin la possibilitat de que ells poguessin entendre aquesta eina de Classroom i la poguessin treballar amb els seus fills en cas de que tinguessin fills en edat escolar. D'entrada, tinguérem algunes dificultats, com us he comentat, i no només a nivell idiomàtic, sinó també a nivell de maneig d'ordinador. Vull dir, ens va costar encendre l'ordinador, aturar l'ordinador, manejar el teclat, manejar ratolí, una sèrie de dificultats que no eren dificultats, sinó que eren reptes que havien de superar per poder seguir una miqueta en el temari.
So Jesus has explained to us that he came to this opportunity after working for many, many years, 37 years in primary schools. And so it was a very different challenge to come to work on the Green Digital Diversity Program on this information technology courses. With the groups that he was working with from Senegal, there was, as we said, the first barrier was a language barrier. Their oral communication on the whole, they could speak and understand, but written communication was a real problem for some of them. They weren't able to understand the written word. And so one of the first things they did was to learn about Classroom. Learn how to use Classroom. This would be really useful, particularly for those of them who had kids at school who were using the Classroom. But before they could get to using the program, they had other challenges to overcome, really basic challenges like how to switch on the computer, how to use the keyboard, how to use the mouse. So it was a real challenge to overcome. But they did it.
Les dificultats que se varen presentar en el principi del curs es varen anar superant perquè aquest grup tenia unes característiques molt importants. Entre ells destacar que era un grup molt solidari. Vull dir, quan explicaven un concepte, fins que tots els membres d'aquella classe ho entenien, no seguien cap endavant. Ells mateixos m'aturaven i me deien no, encara hi ha un company que aquest aspecte no ho ha entès. Això era una gran cohesió de grup la que vaig notar dins aquesta classe. Després també és gent molt pacient, tenien molta paciència a l'hora de fer les activitats, a l'hora de rebre les explicacions. Bàsicament tenien una gran capacitat per aprendre. Jo crec que això va ser la base una miqueta de tot el que vàrem aconseguir en aquest curs.
So how did they overcome these challenges with such great success? Basically, due to the characteristics of the group. This group was quite unique in how unified and supportive they were of one another. So if any one of them, didn't understand something at any point, the others would not want to move on. They would want to wait until everyone in the group was ready to move on to the next topic. They had an incredible amount of patience and also a great capacity to learn.
Un altre aspecte que, en certa manera, era com una miqueta d'entrebanc era que ells no tenien, diguem, ordinadors en els seus domicilis. Vull dir, ells manejaven tot en el telèfon mòbil. Aleshores, clar, algunes d'aquestes activitats que són convenients per repassar cas en l'ordinador, doncs aquí teníem aquesta limitació. Però sí tot, el grup va continuar avançant i vàrem aconseguir moltíssimes coses. Vull dir, aquest grup va aprendre, la realitat és que en el final va aprendre molt. Entre altres coses, varen aprendre a enviar un correu, varen emprar el traductor de Google, sabien escriure un missatge en el tauló del Classroom, sabien obrir un document, sabien canviar la tipologia, el tamany de la lletra, sabien alinear un test, sabien lliurar un treball, insertaven una imatge, copiaven i aferraven un test. Vull dir, el que en principi pareixia que us duria més feina, després va ser tot com més fàcil, com més rodat. De manera que aquest curs en 6 sessions ens ha quedat realment curt i crec que ara ja hi ha una base per pròximament poder treballar i poder aprofundir més en totes les possibilitats que ens ofereix el Classroom.
So one of the difficulties faced with this course was that the students didn't have the infrastructure to practice at home. So most of them did everything by a mobile phone. But despite that, in the course, they learned a tremendous amount. They learned how to send emails, how to use Google Translate, how to send messages on Classroom, how to attach, how to look for images, how to copy and paste things, a whole long list of things that they have learned. Even so, we would say that the course was short and that there is a great opportunity to deepen this knowledge that they've developed in the future.
Finalment, només voler dir que ha estat una activitat altament positiva, no només pels alumnes, sinó també a nivell personal i me fa ganes continuar i poder donar una mà quan sigui necessari. Moltes gràcies.
And just to finish, to say that it was a tremendously positive experience, not just for the students, but also for me. And I really want to continue in the future. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jesus. I will repeat the same sentence. I will hire you. Quedes contratat. Because it's true that all these students, mainly from Senegal, were in love with him. He was such a compromised person, so committed with everybody and with the course that we are so grateful to Jesus. Okay, so now it's time to move and we're going to talk with another volunteer. Her name is Chiska and she is the volunteer in our crafts and the sewing course. We call it Eco Clothes Closet because we try to upcycle and we try to recycle garments of clothes. And she's going to tell us a little bit her first experience as a volunteer. Xisca, mos explicaràs un poquet la teva experiència com a voluntari en aquesta activitat que nosaltres li dèiem paid activity, que és totes les manualitats que feis, un poquet de costura també. Digue'm un poquet com és la teva experiència, com te sents per fer aquest voluntariat. Ella té principalment dones migrades i també dones en necessitat de suport, en té bastantes. I a més les du beníssim, vull dir, té un savoir-faire amb aquest grup tan heterogeni increïble. Chisca, conta'm la teva experiència un poquet.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Pues, como has dicho, esta ha sido mi primera experiencia así de voluntariado y estoy contenta, muy contenta de haberla podido hacer. He tenido alumnas de diferentes edades y diferentes nacionalidades, como dices, y ha sido fácil en el sentido de que todas hemos aportado algo, hemos reciclado prácticamente todo lo que hemos hecho ha sido con cosas recicladas. Hemos reciclado latas, vidrio, tela, todo lo que hemos cosido prácticamente ha sido con telas recicladas también y bueno, aparte que hemos hecho alguna cosita más. Básicamente una aportaba, pues yo tengo esta tela, la otra, pues yo tengo para relleno, pues, y así hemos ido construyendo lo que hacíamos, que creo que ha gustado luego también, porque se expuso todo. Y hemos trabajado así, prácticamente trayendo una cosa, otra. Yo le daba la idea, podemos hacer esto, se hacía y aparte de eso, pues a veces modificábamos algo porque alguien decía, pues yo lo voy a usar para esto, pues yo para esto otro. Y modificábamos el tamaño de algo y así ha sido. Ya te digo, he tenido de diferentes edades y yo por mi parte estoy muy contenta porque han aprendido. Había gente que no sabía ni coger una aguja y estoy muy contenta porque han aprendido cosas y eso ya para mí vale un mundo.
Jessica's told us about how much she enjoyed her first experience as a volunteer, working with this very, very different group, a very, very mixed, blended group of immigrants and people with special needs and people of all ages as well. Remarkably, she said it was easy. She said that the great thing was that everybody contributed. So they were working with recycled materials and everyone would bring in things that they had. So they were working with tins, with glass, with fabric, and everybody would bring in their contribution. And then with Chiska's help, they would come up with ideas of what they could do. And along the way, they would make changes, change the size of things or whatever. But what was particularly what particularly she liked was that there was such a range of skills and abilities in the group at the beginning. There were people who had never before picked up a needle, and she said it was a tremendous experience, a really pleasurable experience to work with this group.
Yo pienso que para mí y para ellos ha sido una cosa muy positiva. Estoy muy contenta de haberlo podido hacer y no sé, yo también tuve un punto de apoyo cuando estudiaba catalán, aunque ahora todos lo digo en castellano, y tuve un padrino para charlar en catalán y esto también fue muy importante para mí y pensé si yo puedo ayudar en algo, pues ahí estoy también.
She says it's been a tremendously positive experience, not just for her, but also for the students. And she's very glad to have done it, that she herself received support learning in Catalan, and it was a way to pass on and give back from the support that she'd received that she's very grateful for. And she's very happy to have been involved.
Thank you very much, Iska. It was very interesting, and now we have to be brief because we are a bit pressed for time. Anem un poc malament de temps perquè tot és tan interessant que jo sí que m'agradaria moltíssim presentar-vos a Ana Juana Sánchez. Ella és una professora jubilada amb vocació, una vocació ingent, que tot i que se va jubilar fa uns anys i tot i que compartim institut, perquè les dues tenim la plaça en el Joan Alcover, ella la tenia i això m'uneix un poquet amb ella, a més d'altres coses. Ella ha començat enguany com a voluntària i la varen contactar a través de la Germandat de Mestres Jubilats, que és una gran entitat que fa moltíssima feina. i en la que tenim molta relació, CEPA Son Canals, i ha començat a fer classe de castellà en els migrats i, a més, és una persona que vibra amb aquest tema de la migració i es vol ajudar i crec que es toca lo poc que la conec. Damaris, you can translate.
So Joanna has come to Son Canals. She's a teacher with many years' experience, and she came to Son Canals through the connections with an organization of retired teachers, which is a very useful connection that Son Canals has. And she's a teacher of Spanish, teaching the immigrants, and she does a wonderful job. She has a very good connection. She has a passion for working with the immigrants, and we're going to hear from her now.
Conta'm-nos un poquet què penses que pot aportar aquest voluntariat a les escoles d'adults? Si creus que és necessari i què se pot fer? En què podem millorar un poquet que l'acollida d'aquests migrats sigui com cal, sea como toca?
Vale. Bueno, muchas gracias por dejarme participar en esto que para mí es tan nuevísimo, no nuevo, nuevísimo. Y por otra parte, porque yo soy una admiradora y defensora del voluntariado a todos los niveles. Porque el ser voluntario no quiere decir que la calidad del trabajo sea menor, sino que llega a unos espacios que el Estado o el Gobierno no llega y, sin embargo, la sociedad lo requiere. Y yo tengo unos alumnos, yo me callo cuando vosotros me digáis, pero yo tengo unos alumnos que tienen muchas limitaciones y son muy variados. Desde la gente que viene solo, hay dos grandes grupos, los que vienen buscando un certificado para el arraigo y llevan años viviendo en Baleares y no han necesitado ni una palabra ni de catalán ni de español, porque forman grupos pequeños y se ayudan entre ellos. Y luego hay otro aspecto que son los que quieren aprender, pero están fuera de lo que son las enseñanzas regladas. Y entonces lo que el voluntariado les puede ofrecer es, en primer lugar, una flexibilidad de horarios, de atención y tal. El acogimiento ya lo llevan con el centro. Y la calidad de ese acogimiento y de ese voluntariado y todo lo demás depende sobre todo de la gente que lo está haciendo. Es decir, la gestión, necesitamos también a lo mejor aumentar el número de profesores, en cuanto que hay gente que no ha ido en su país a la escuela y hay otros que tienen un título universitario. Necesitamos que se puedan incorporar, sobre todo los más jóvenes, y al fin y al cabo esto es un centro de enseñanza de personas adultas, como las que yo tengo en clase. Bueno, no sé si puedo seguir o sigues tú.
És molt interessant i molt enriquidora, però malauradament anar molt curts de temps. M'encantaria, perquè a més el que has dit estic d'acord 100%, que és vera que hi ha una quantitat d'alumnes, un grup heterogeni i moltes necessitats i a vegades els hem d'ajuntar a una mateixa classe. Estic molt d'acord amb les teves reivindicacions, però és que a més mos queda encara un participant, així que t'ho agraeix moltíssim i me fa molta pena que no tinguem més temps.
So let me say what Joanna said. She's an enormous fan of volunteering. She says that you have to remember that just because somebody does something on a voluntary basis, it doesn't mean that the standard is lower. The standard is equally high. But what volunteers are able to do is reach places the state doesn't reach and give support to people who need it, but who within the system can't get it. So there are, within her courses, there were two groups of people. There was one group of people who have lived for many years here without needing the language, because the immigrants support one another so much and help one another so much, that they were able to live for years without speaking Spanish, but now they needed to learn. And then there were others who wanted to learn, but couldn't do so within the system because of timetable clashes or whatever else it might be. And so she feels that what we really need is more volunteer teachers and the opportunity to help more these people that the state doesn't reach.
Thank you so much, Joanna. And now we're going to listen to Leah. Leah has been one of our most active students. She participated in the first course of digitally competent citizens. And last year, she was one of the first students. She has also participated in taken part in different courses, Spanish courses organized by CEPA Son Canals and SOIP, the employment service in the Balearic Islands. She has also participated in our citizenship preparation exam, etc., because she's very, very active. And I wanted to ask Leah something different today. I would like to ask her if she feels if she feels confident in our school, if she feels embraced, if she feels well in our school. Do you think could you tell us if Son Canals is a welcoming school, is a cozy, warm, etc., school? Do you feel well at CEPA Son Canals?
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity given unto me. At Son Canal, you have said it all. Son Canal is a very good school. They welcome people. We are one family in that school. If we come from different places, when you are there, you feel at home. You forget your problem. When you are in the midst of even the teachers and the colleagues, we interacted together. So there you forget your problem. There they are very, very accommodating. They don't discriminate. There in CEPA Son Canal, they are very, very good. The school is good and the teacher are the best. They are the best.
Thank you very much, Leah.
When I got to this place, I don't understand anything concerning calling Spanish. Hola, just hola, I don't know. But now, at least I'm working with the little experience I've got. I'm working and I can understand when people are speaking Spanish. I can understand, and small I can speak. So now, through the learning I've got from that school. So I'm so proud to be a student of Son Canal, CEPA Son Canal. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Do you think it's our society in general, the Spanish society, the Mallorcan society, is a welcoming society? I mean, do you think we are inclusive as a society?
Yes, of course. Truly, you are, like I said, they accommodate people. They don't discriminate. If you go to CEPA Son Canal, you see different people from different country, be it Muslim, Christian, no separation. So as we come together, we do things in unity. The teacher are very accommodating. They so love to you. though they don't know you before, but at the moment they see you, they so interest in you, they encourage you. So to learn more, you will be interested to learn more, to be coming to school. I don't, even during my off time, during when as I'm working, during my off day, I don't rest at home. I will make sure I be at the school because I so love the place. So the school is very, very good.
Thank you so much, Leah. I think it has been a very, very, very interesting panel of experts, volunteers, students. It's a mix, a blended group, which I think is very interesting. Thank you to all of you for listening to us, for being here with us. And I hope you have liked all our roundtables and presentations from different parts of the world. And thank you to IBSTEAM to be with us all the time. I want to thank you especially to Miquel Nabot and Eva Vives, who have given us this technical support, which is so necessary for an event, for a multiplying event like this. So I hope you have liked it, and goodbye.